Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play Leather Britches. Leather Britches is an old tune. It started out in Scotland as Lord Macdonald's Reel, but as with many of these tunes it went to America, and in the USA it was published in 1859 as Leather Britches, and it's become a popular contest tune, particularly in Texas. I'm going to give you two versions of the tune, one a pretty straightforward one, and the second one a slightly more complex version based on the playing of Bobby Hicks. We'll go straight into it, then we'll talk a little bit about the fingering and the bowing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the fingering, there's a lot of bow crossing here, and to get the right fingering is a bit tricky. So I think as a general rule, when my third finger goes down on the G, my first finger goes down at the same time on the B. And they come off together and they go back on together. So they're going up and down as one. So that doesn't apply to the last two bars, but to the first two bars, yes. The first and third are as if they're locked together. Okay, now the bowing. I would normally say try and start every bar on a down bow unless you have a reason otherwise. And I would say in this tune you do have a reason otherwise, because the rocking pattern, I feel it wants to emphasise the third note. I think if you slur the first two notes with an up bow, then that becomes the strongest note of the bar. And it's like a half of a Georgia shuffle, because we're not going to do, which will be the Georgia shuffle, but we're just going to do, which I think makes a nice interesting pattern. Okay, into the second half, and here we're going to slur those last three notes of each of the first two bars together. Now this line, it's 4 bars repeated, and in order to even the whole thing up, we've got almost the same 4 bars repeated again, with just a slight variation. That's the only variation. I think if I was playing this, I would actually add a little bit more variation to that last line. Let's do the whole thing at a slow tempo and then up to speed. Okay, just before we do the speeded up version, I'll just point out that this idea of mine of bowing a kind of half Georgia shuffle, it's certainly not a standard idea, and really whatever way you want to bow it is how you should bow it. Just be aware that there are choices to be made, and you're not stuck with what was written on the first version that you learnt. So let's just do the same thing again, but up to tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's look at the Bobby Hicks version, which I transcribed from one of his videos. And this is slightly different in that it starts off with a what's called a taters, a Nashville shuffle going, which is a good start. It's got a, starts off with a triplet into the first bar. Just at the beginning of the first bar and the fifth bar it does that. On the middle section, in the second half, it's got that little slight change in the melody. And then on the third section, instead of being 4 bars repeated and then the same 4 bars repeated again, this is an 8-bar tune repeated. And it goes into third position. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can do it either changing into third just at the end, which is what I'll do this time. So you can see I went 2, 1, 2. Now if you watch Bobby Hicks playing this, he actually does the whole of this section in third position, which is unnecessary, but if you're playing in a Texas contest, I believe one of the things you marked on is difficulty. So by deliberately doing it in third position, that does make it more difficult. And this is not an easy thing to play in third, or at least not easy to play in tune. So starting with first finger on the A string, playing the D, 1, 4, 2. And we're going to keep that first finger down almost all the way through the section, apart from the 4th bar. In fact, we're going to keep that finger as like a capo on the D note and the A note, all the way through, apart from that 4th bar. That's the only place you take it off. And keeping that finger on there will help to anchor your fingers and help to keep it in tune. Thank you for watching. If you would like a free PDF of this sheet music, then do subscribe to the channel and send me an email. If you would like to get a hold of a zip file with every one of my PDFs, that's around 350 of them so far, then do join me on Patreon. And at level 1, that's one of the benefits you will get. At level 3, you will get a free one-to-one Zoom lesson every month. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.